It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Those were the first words ever uttered to Link in The Legend of Zelda on the NES, and he's abided by those words ever since. Throughout the years, this legendary Hylian has accompanied himself with a plethora of different weapons, items, and perhaps most notably, companions over the course of his adventures. These companions come in all shapes and sizes. Some are fairies, some are animals, some are humans, and some are even spirits. Whatever the case, Link's companions all have various different motivations behind why they help the man in the green tunic, with some having more noble reasons than others. Out of all of Link's friends that follow him on his quest, we want to know which ones are truly the most loyal, and which ones are more driven by their own self-interest. I'm Kyle with 1UP Binge, and this is The Legend of Zelda Companions, Good to Most Heroic. First off, let's clarify what we actually mean by a companion for the context of this video. Companions to us are any characters who are physically by Link's side when he's in danger and help him in some way, shape, or form. This could be giving Link important advice, helping him travel around, or physically attacking enemies which mean to cause him harm. This does not account for characters who do next to nothing in escort missions like Princess Ruto in Ocarina of Time, whose only practical purpose was to be placed on switches. Characters from escort missions who actually help Link proactively, however, will be included in this ranking. Also, we're only looking at Link's companions in the games. We're not including potential companions from manga or cartoons. So excuse us, Sprite. With that established, let's hookshot into our rankings and rank the morality of Link's companions. At the very bottom of our list, we're placing Captain Linebeck from Phantom Hourglass as the least noble companion. While regarded as a hero by many who don't know him too well, Link finds out Linebeck really only cares about three things: treasure, his ship, and more treasure. Link seeks Linebeck out because he needs a ship in order to save Tetra from the ghost ship. He agrees to let Link use his ship, humbly named the SS Linebeck, but only because Linebeck knows Link can lead him to some rare treasure on his journey. When Linebeck finds out the treasure on the ghost ship is a myth, he refuses to let Link use it anymore. However, the Ocean King says he'll grant Linebeck a wish if he continues to help Link, which causes him to change his tune. He leads Link to the ghost ship, but the SS Linebeck sinks after a nautical battle. The Ocean King returns his promise at the end of the game, only for Linebeck to wish for a ship instead of treasure. I guess this could imply that Linebeck values adventuring more than treasure, but really, it's still a wish for his own material possession, so it's still somewhat self-centered. Overall, Linebeck really isn't the most noble person. Before the events of the game, it's revealed that he was friends with a pirate girl named Jolene. That was until Linebeck stole her treasure and ran away behind her back. Although Link helps Linebeck fight Jolene at several points, learning this does make the player feel like a dirty accomplice. All of this easily sinks Linebeck to the bottom of our list. Chained to our next spot, we have a character whose species is usually seen in another series: Bow Wow from The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. One of the more notable aspects of Link's Awakening is how it implements characters from other Nintendo properties, such as Mario and Kirby, all within the roster of the Zelda universe. Bow Wow is one of the more noteworthy examples, as he's a chain chomp residing in Mabe Village. Bow Wow is the biggest in a family of domesticated chain chomps owned by Madame Meow Meow. Bow Wow will charge at Link if he sees him, but won't cause any damage, proving that at least around humans, Bow Wow is more excitable than vicious. Later on in the game, Bow Wow is captured by a group of moblins, and Madame Meow Meow sends Link to go save her puppy. When Link completes the task, Bow Wow will accompany Link around the island, eating every enemy that comes in sight. This certainly makes Bow Wow a useful asset for Link. The reason Bow Wow ranks so low on our list is that he mostly seems driven by hunger when it comes to defeating enemies for Link. Still, Bow Wow does demonstrate a lot of loyalty to Link, especially by the standards of a chain chomp, so we definitely think this is a mostly moral barking ball. The first of many fairies on our list, Tatl flies into our next spot. Before the main events of Majora's Mask, Tatl, along with her brother Tail, befriend Skull Kid and help him steal Majora's Mask from the Happy Mask salesman. Tatl then flies around Link as a distraction, which causes her to separate from her brother and Skull Kid. Due to this, Link and Tatl agree reluctantly to work together so that Tatl can see Tail once again. Much like Midna, Tatl is quite rude and berating towards Link, only seeing him as a means to an end. given her past of robbing people with Skull Kid and Tail. Tattle was never the most moral fairy to begin with. Throughout the course of the adventure, Tattle does warm up to Link, but not enough to totally rid herself of her sassy attitude. She is very helpful towards Link, giving him the ability to Z-target and giving him advice against enemy. Her most redeeming characteristic is her love for her brother, seeing Skull Kid as a horrible monster once he strikes Tail. While this doesn't totally make Tattle a purely good character, it does give multiple layers to her character, many of which are redeeming. Next, we have the titular princess from another realm, Midna from The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. A descendant of the Twi people, Midna was once a human who was dethroned by Zant and turned into an imp through the use of dark magic. She meets Link when he enters the Twilight Realm and turns into a wolf for the first time. A loner and trickster by nature, Midna initially agrees to help Link escape from prison as long as he blindly follows her orders without questioning her motives. Midna is initially very condescending towards Link, seeing him as more of a tool she can use to reclaim her position of royalty. When Zant exposes Midna to light, which mortally wounds her, Link takes her to Zelda, who transfers her soul into Midna's body, in order to save her from certain death. Touched by the selfless act, Midna learns to care for Link and decides to help him not for herself, but for the fate of all Hyrule. While Midna loses some points for her initial acts of deception towards Link, her character arc in the game redeems her greatly in becoming a selfless, noble person. Next, we have the cursed canine on which Midna rides around, Wolf Link. Some of you might be scratching your head right now, as how can a form of Link also be his companion? The answer is the magical power of merchandising. By tapping a Wolf Link amiibo into the amiibo rune in Breath of the Wild, Wolf Link will appear alongside his human counterpart and attack nearby enemies and animals. Using the Sheikah sensor, Wolf Link will sniff out useful items for the player to use. In his default use, Wolf Link will only have 3 heart pieces for his health, making him nearly defeated by enemies. However, if the player also has registered Wolf Link in The Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess HD for Wii U, Wolf Link will have the same amount of heart pieces as they do in their Twilight Princess save data. Wolf Link is also shown to be very obedient, as Human Link can command his furry partner to stay in one place if needed. The only thing preventing Wolf Link from ranking any higher is that he's more or less an excuse for the player to buy an amiibo, so his help comes with an extra price. That said, Wolf Link has the heart and soul of a legendary hero, so we can't say we don't love having him by our side. Hey, listen! Navi calls our attention to her being the next entry on our list. Undoubtedly the most iconic fairy on our list, and maybe the most annoying, Navi joins Link in The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time when the Great Deku Tree assigns her the task of being Link's companion. While this proves to be a tall order, Navi is still more than up for the task, accompanying Link across all of Hyrule, and even 7 years into the future. She helps Link and the player with Z-targeting for the first time, bringing the combat of Zelda into the 3rd dimension. She shows a great amount of loyalty to both Link and the Great Deku Tree, which are definitely points in her favor. The main reason she doesn't rank higher will come as a surprise to absolutely no one: her constant nagging. From the very beginning of the game, Navi is not shown to have the best manners, rudely waking Link up from his slumber to get him on his journey. Once the Great Deku Tree dies and Navi agrees to stay with Link, she seems to have a grudge against Link, doubting his efficiency as a hero. Navi does warm up to Link as the adventure progresses, but her manners don't really improve much even then, constantly yelling at Link to listen to her when she has something to say. Showing her bond with the hero isn't the strongest even after her character development. Still, we can't deny the help this fairy provided in Link's Nintendo 64 debut. Next up, we have a trio of animal buddies in a collective spot: Ricky, Dimitri, and Moosh. In The Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, Ricky, Dimitri, and Moosh are a kangaroo, Dodongo, and flying bear who Link helps throughout his quest. In return, the animals will allow Link to ride around with him, allowing him to pass over obstacles in his path. Ricky can jump far, Dimitri can swim, and Moosh can hover in the air. It should be noted that the player has to choose which of these animal friends will join Link on his journey, changing not only the journey itself, but what abilities can be utilized on said journey. This does knock them down a few pegs in our ranking, as the characters are more or less making the player choose favorites, and preventing them from seeing the whole scope of the game on one single playthrough. Ricky, Dimitri, and Moosh can rank higher if they had better teamwork skills. Not with Link, but with each other. Still, we can't deny their abilities are helpful, and they do a lot in helping Link progress throughout his journey. Right above a trio of animals, we have a duo of fairies, Neri and Leaf. Appearing in Phantom Hourglass, ironically these two fairies are part of a trio, but since the third member of their team has more prominence in the game, we'll rank her separately. The three fairies in this game represent the three spirits of the Triforce: power, wisdom, and courage, with Leaf representing power and Neri representing wisdom. Prior to Phantom Hourglass, the evil deity Bellum imprisoned the three spirits along with the Ocean King, while the Ocean King and the Spirit of Courage managed to escape captivity. Neri and Leaf remain imprisoned until near the end of the game when Link saves them. Upon their release, Leaf will power up Link's sword for flame abilities, where Neri will increase Link's defense and allow him to stun enemies with his shield. Since these fairies aren't with Link throughout the majority of the game, they aren't exactly the most prominent companions, but they do a lot to further help our hero out on his quest. The Crimson Loftwing swoops into our next spot. Appearing in The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword, the Crimson Loftwing is Link's means of transportation throughout the course of the game. Given it is somewhat a difficult task to navigate around, well, the sky, we can safely say that in this case, Link wouldn't have gotten anywhere on his journey without this companion. It's implied that Link and the Crimson Loftwing share a deep spiritual bond. The giant bird demonstrates his loyalty to his rider over the course of the game, navigating through perilous situations in order to help his master. While the Crimson Loftwing is not a speaking character, he does demonstrate through his actions that he cares about Link and has a good heart and moral compass. I guess there is no deeper bond than a man and his bird, except for maybe the bond between a man and his horse, which is why Epona gallops into our next spot. When Link isn't traversing across the sky or the sea, he can usually be found running around grassy plains, made much easier with the use of his trusted steed. Much like the Crimson Loftwing, Epona is often implied to have a deep spiritual connection with Link, hence her unconditional loyalty to her rider. The reason Epona ranks a little higher than the giant bird is for two reasons. One, Epona has accompanied Link on many of his journeys, making her a much more prominent character in the Zelda series. And two, Epona is even more willing to join Link in combat, whether Link is shooting enemies with his bow or simply getting Epona to trample over them. This horse shows no reluctance in the threat of danger. With the amount of loyalty and bravery that Epona displays, this horse makes us want to play our ocarinas to call such a dependable companion of our own. Quite possibly the strangest companion on our list, Ezlo is up next. Once a craftsman for the evil Vaati, Ezlo was working on crafting a magic hat that could grant wishes of the person who wore it. Once his creation was finished, Vaati betrayed Ezlo by stealing the hat and turning Ezlo into a hat himself. An odd betrayal for sure, but Ezlo makes the most of his situation, befriending Link and helping him on his quest to stop Vaati. Ezlo is portrayed as joking and sarcastic towards Link on occasion, but it seems like his remarks are all in good fun, as he genuinely likes Link. After being turned into a hat, we're actually kinda glad he still has a sense of humor. He's also shown to have a strong love for food despite the fact he doesn't have a digestive system. Ezlo is helpful too, giving advice to Link throughout the course of the Minish Cap. He also can shrink himself and Link in size, which is a huge part of this particular adventure. Even with his occasional snark, Ezlo makes for one of the more entertaining and endearing allies that Link has encountered. Hey, listen! Again, Proxy flies into our next spot. Appearing in the spin-off title Hyrule Warriors, Proxy is a survivor of a fairy genocide committed by one of the game's antagonists, Cia. She stays with Link for her own protection and serves as his source of communication throughout the game. Since Link is not the most talkative person, this actually proves to be quite the helpful trait. She does share some of Navi's less favorable personality traits, including her constant yelling at Link. Unlike Navi, however, Proxy seems more confident in Link's abilities from the get-go, always seeing him as the brave and powerful hero he is. She's also shown to care pretty deeply for Link from her concern when Ganondorf defeats Link after being resurrected. All of this helps secure Proxy as one of the more noble companions Link has worked with. We calculate a 100% chance that Fi is up next in our ranking. Link's more prominent companion in Skyward Sword, Fi is a fairy spirit with the personality of a Vulcan, lacking emotion and basing all of her decisions on logic. Residing in the Goddess Sword, Fi calls for Link's help in defeating the Demon Lord. While mostly having the personality of a robot, Fi is shown to be intrigued by human emotion. as her bond with Link becomes stronger throughout the game. She starts to emote more and more, eventually feeling both gratitude and happiness towards her master. She's also shown to be very helpful, constantly guiding Link towards his goals on their adventure. In fact, some critics might say she's a little too helpful, always chiming in with her calculations even if the next step of the journey is very obvious. Maybe she holds Link's hand a little too much, but we can't deny that her intentions are in the right place at every moment. Taking home the Bronze Medal of Good is Ciela from Phantom Hourglass. Link's much more compassionate partner in this game, Ciela is the spirit of time and courage who loses her memory after fighting the antagonist Bellum. Like many other fairies, Ciela is portrayed as hot-tempered and irritable. The reason this personality trait doesn't rank her lower like Navi and Tattle is because Ciela's anger is not directed at Link. It's directed at Linebeck, which is much more understandable. In fact, Ciela is one of the few fairy companions who is kind to Link from the very beginning. Like the other fairies, Ciela tries to help Link at every point in his journey, forming a strong bond between the two. But what really propels Ciela to the top 3 is that she literally saves Link's life at the beginning of the game. She doesn't even know who Link is, yet she rescues him after he washes up on shore. While she did lose her memory, Ciela never lost her moral compass, which is why she earns the Bronze Medal of Good. But taking the Silver Medal of Good is the King of Red Lions from The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker, a talking sailboat who serves as Link's means of transportation. The King of Red Lions is actually being controlled by the King of Hyrule from afar. The King of Red Lions saves Link from drowning at the beginning of the game and guides him around flooded Hyrule when Link buys a sail and learns how to control the wind. While the King of Red Lions doesn't actively help Link within the dungeons, he more than makes up for it by giving Link advice and helping him navigate around such a large map. Much like his human counterpart, the King of Red Lions is portrayed as wise, noble, and determined, putting the fate of Hyrule as his highest priority. It could be argued that the King of Hyrule could be more proactive in actually joining Link on his quest rather than piloting a boat from afar. However, someone has to look after the castle, so we won't hold that against him. In any case, the King of Red Lions is an integral aspect of Link's adventure, allowing him to sail into second place on our countdown. Finally, the Gold Medal of Good is awarded to the titular royal woman herself, Princess Zelda. While Zelda often is captured by Ganon and awaiting Link's rescue, on certain occasions, such as the Ocarina of Time and Wind Waker, she disguises herself as other characters in order to help Link on his mission. In The Legend of Zelda: Spirit Tracks, she finally takes the role of a full-on companion. In this game, Zelda's spirit separates from her body, allowing her to possess phantoms in order to help Link throughout the dungeons. Unlike other companions who merely offer Link advice, Phantom Zelda will actively participate in helping Link progress through the dungeon, using her newfound abilities to block enemies, traverse through hazards, carry items, distract foes, and a whole lot more. This definitely makes Zelda a valuable asset in Spirit Tracks and elevates her far beyond her regular damsel status. In all games, Zelda is generally portrayed as wise, caring, and selfless, often making sacrifices for the good of Hyrule. She is definitely a respectable leader and a good friend to Link, granting her the highest spot on our list of companions. And that about does it for our list, but before we sign off, let's hand out some honorary Sinner medals to our cast of companions. The Darwin medal would unfortunately have to go to Ciela. While Ciela isn't particularly stupid, she does suffer from memory loss at the beginning of the game, showing her mind isn't all it could be. The Gluttony medal is awarded to Bow Wow. Bow Wow eats any enemy that comes into his sight, proving that this barking ball has a bottomless pit for a stomach. The Greed medal, of course, goes to Linebeck. His motivation behind everything is finding treasure, and will put both his life and the lives of others in danger to achieve that goal. The Sloth medal is awarded to Eslo. By virtue of being turned into a hat, Eslo can't move around without Link wearing him on his head. The Wrath medal goes to Tattle. Tattle has a grudge against Skull Kid for separating her from her brother, leading her to help Link in taking Skull Kid down. The Envy medal is awarded to Midna, whose initial motivation is to dethrone Zant and take his position. Given the position was rightfully hers to begin with, we can't say that her envy is unfounded. The Lust medal goes to Epona. Considering she's the most prominent companion, appearing in many games, we're willing to bet that this horse has a lust for adventure more so than any of Link's other partners. And finally, the Pride medal is awarded to the King of Red Lions, or more accurately, the King of Hyrule. He is the proud leader of the Hylian people and stands by his position even when Hyrule is flooded. Let us know in the comments section if you agree with our ranking, and tell us what we should cover next. If you need a one-up, make sure to hit that notification bell and binge more of our videos. We've got a ton of Nintendo Good to Evil episodes and plenty more in the works. Thanks for watching.